Hello guys, and now we're going to be solving some JAMB past questions. I should mention that we have solved some JAMB past questions as example. Those examples that had options in them, those questions are actually JAMB past questions. But now we're going to be trying to solve some other questions that are related to the topics that we have discussed. So let's start. So now we are told to simplify this expression. 3 over 2 over 3 times 5 over 6 times 2 over 3 all over 11 over 15 times 3 over 4 times 2 over 27. So the first thing you want to do is you want to change all mixed fraction to power fraction. So you start out by saying 3 times 3, which is 9 plus 2. That will give you 11. So you have 11 over 3 then times 5 over 6 times 2 over 3 then everything over 11 over 5 times 3 over 4 times 2 over 27. So now you try to simplify to the lowest term. So you know 2 can go here 1 and 2 in 6 be 3, and in denominator you know that 3 will go here 1 and 3 in 27 will go 9 times, then 2 will go here 1 and 2 will go here 2. So you are left with in the numerator 11 times 5, which is 55 over 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27, then everything over, then you have only 11 here, 11 over 5 times 2 times 9, and that will give me 270. So you have 270. So this is same as writing 55 over 27 divided by 11 over 270. And to change this divided to multiply, I just have to write out the reciprocal of this. So that will be equals to 55 over 27 times 270 over 11. I know 27 will go here 1 and 27 will go here 10. I know that 11 will go here 1 and 11 will go here 5. So I'm left with 5 times 10, which is equals to 50. So the answer is D. So now let's move on to the next question. We are told to evaluate this number or this algebraic expression correct to 3 significant figure. So we have 3524 over 0.05. So since in JAMB you are going to be allowed to use the on-screen calculator, you can easily just punch this your calculator, and what do you get when you do that? You get 7480. Now it will be wrong to just look at this answer and look at the option and just choose this. And why? Because the question asks us to give our answer correct to 3 significant figures. Now we have talked about 3 significant figures, and we say the way you do that is by taking the first 3 numbers that add significant in this case. So we have 4, 0, 7, 0 and 4. So now what is the next number? The next number is a 8 and is an 8, and 8 is greater than 4. So what do? We change this to 0 and we round up by increasing this by 1 digit. So this becomes 70500. So this is this number into 3 significant figures. So if I'm writing 70,480 to 3 significant figure, it becomes 70,500. So the answer is D. I should mention again, selecting C will be the wrong option because C is actually the answer to 4 significant figures, but the question is asking us to 3 significant figures. So take note that you read the question very well to know what is required of you. Now let's move on to the third example. We are asked to find the principal which amounts to 5,500 at simple interest in 5 years at 2% per annum. So what is this all about? We are told that the total amount is what? Told that the total amount is 5,500 naira, and we are told that the time is 5 years and the rate is what? 2%. We are told to find the principal. The principal is unknown. Now, what is the formula for our simple interest? We know that our simple interest is given as what? Simple interest is given as principal times rate times time over 100. So now, but now we don't know the principal and we don't know the simple interest. So we can try to calculate the simple interest in terms of the principal. So we know that our simple interest will be equal to the principal, which is unknown. Write it as P. Our rate is 2% and our time is 5 years over 100. So we know that our simple interest will be equals to, this will be equals to 0.1p. So our simple interest is 0.1 of the principal. But now we don't know the simple interest, but we are given the amount. And if you recall from our explanations, I explained that the amount that you get at the end of the day, the amount is equals to the initial principal that you invested. You can go back to the lectures to check it, plus the interest that has accrued. So I know that my amount is equals to the principal plus the interest that has accrued. Now, I don't know the amount, I don't know the simple interest, but I know the simple interest in terms of the principal as 0.1p. So I can substitute it here to find the value of p. What do I mean? The amount has been given to be 5,500 and I'm told is equal to the principal, which is p, plus the simple interest, which I have calculated to be 0.1p. So I know that 5,500 is equals to 1p plus 0.1p will be equals to 1.1p. So if I divide both sides by 1.1, I know that my p will be equals to 5,000. So my principal in this case is 5,000 naira, which is A. So now you can see in this example that the questions that you might expect to come out might not be very straightforward, but if you understand the underlying concepts behind what we're talking about, then solving them will be very easy. And to check your answer, we can quickly do a quick check. And we can check by calculating what the amount will be if my principal is 5,000. So now my simple interest will be equal to my principal, which is 5,000. So this is a check. Then times my rate is 2 times 5 over 100. 0 cancel 0. So I'm left with 50 times 10, which is 500. So I know that my amount will be equals to my principal, which is 5,000, plus my interest, which is 500, which gives me 5,500 as seen here. So you can quickly do a quick check to be sure that your answer is correct. But if you solve it through this means, you will still arrive at 5,000. So let's move on to the next question. We are told that when a dealer sells a bicycle for 81 naira, it makes a profit of 8%. What did he pay for the bicycle? So now we know that he made a profit of 8%. If you recall, what is our formula for percentage profit? We are told that our percentage profit is equals to the profit and over what? The cost price times 100. And if you recall, we said our profit is equals to what? Profit is equals to the selling price minus the cost price, because the selling price is more than the cost price. So we can substitute it here. So we have our percentage profit is equals to what? Our selling price minus our cost price over our cost price times 100. So we are told to calculate the amount he paid for the bicycle, which is another way of saying what is the cost price if he sold it, the selling price for 81, and if the profit is 8%. So we just substitute what we know into the equation. We know that his profit is 8%, so write 8 is equals to his selling price is 81 minus, we don't know his cost price, so that's what we are looking for, over his cost price, then times 100. Can divide both sides by 100. So we have 0.08 is equals to 81 minus CP over CP. Now we can cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, we have what? 0.08 CP is equals to 81 minus CP. Then we can bring this CP and call it like times towards the side. So we have 0.08 CP plus CP is equals to 81. So when you add 0.08 CP plus 1 CP, you have 1.08 CP is equals to 81. Then divide both sides by 1.08 and you're left with what? CP is equals to 75. So this cost price of the bicycle is what? 75 naira, and that gives us what? Oh, there are two options here that have 75, A and C. So anyone you choose must definitely be a mistake with the question, but you get the idea. So the answer, the cost price is what? 75 naira. Now let's check out another example relating to proportion, ratio and proportion. So we said 3 girls share a number of apples in the ratio 5:3:2. If the highest share is 40 apples, find the smallest share. So now let's get started. We thought that 3 girls share apple in this ratio, so they are sharing it in ratio of what? 5:3:2. So now let's say this belongs to the first girl, the second girl and the third girl. So based on this ratio, who is going to receive the highest number of apples? Definitely the first girl, because she has the highest proportion. So now how do we calculate a proportion? If we remember the procedures, first we have to find the sum of all proportions. So we have 5 plus 3 plus 2, and that is equals to 10. So the fraction belonging to the first girl is what? So the first girl, the fraction belonging to her is 5/10. So now we know that 5/10 of the total number of apples that they are sharing will equal to the number of apples that she gets. But now we don't know the total number of apples that they are sharing. So let's say let the total apple shared be equals to x. So now we know that what? We know that 5/10 multiplied by the total number of apples shared, x, will be equals to the amount of apples she received. So we are told in the question that she received what? 40 apples, so it will be equals to 40. So when we cross multiply, we know that what? 5x is equals to 400, and we know that what? X will be equals to 400/5, which is equals to 80 apples. 80. So in essence, what this means is that the 3 girls are sharing 80 apples and the first girl received 40 apples. So the question asks us to find the smallest share. So we know that the smallest share will belong to the third girl because she has smallest proportion. So what will be the fraction of her share? The fraction of her share will be her own. So the third girl, now her fraction is just going to be her own proportion, which is 2 divided by the total proportion, which is 10. So she's going to receive 2/10 of the total number of apples, which have gotten to be 80. So what you will receive will be 2/10 times 80, and when we do that, we have what? 16 apples. So the answer here is equals to what? 16. So as you can see in this question, what we have deduced is that the total, first and foremost, since we are given the amount of apples the highest person received, which is the first person, we will use that to find the total number of apples that was shared, which we did here by calculating a fraction and multiply by total apple to be equals to 40, and we got the total number of apples shared, x, to be equals to 18. Now when we have done that, we'll use the fraction of the third girl, since she's the one that will receive the smallest share, to calculate the amount of apples she will receive, which will be 2 a portion over the total sum, which is 10, times total number of apples shared, which is 18, and that gives us 16 apples. So if you follow through with the same calculation, we will find out that the second girl will receive 24 apples. So you can try to work that out on your own to see how you come to that answer. So now let's try to solve another question that has to do with ratio also. Now this question is very interesting and I want you to pay really close attention to it because it's something that has to do with quite a bit of manipulation, but it's easy. So just calm your nerves down and you understand it. So now we're told that if P ratio Q is given by this, and we're told that Q ratio R is given by this, and now told to find P ratio Q ratio R. So how do we do it? So I'm going to write it in this format. We are told that we know P ratio Q is what? 2/3 ratio 5/6, and we know Q ratio R is equals to 3/4 ratio 1/2. So we are now told to find P ratio Q ratio R. So what is interesting about this question is how do we go about this? So in solving a question like this, what you have to think of is your goal is to make Q equals to the proportion of Q equal or the same in both expressions. And how do we achieve that? So let's start out with the first ratio that we are given, P ratio Q. Now for P ratio Q, so you have P ratio Q to be equals to what? 2/3 ratio 5/6. Let's multiply both sides of the ratio by 6. So if you multiply by 6 and you multiply by 6, 6 will cancel 6, then 3 here 1, 3 here 2, so you are left with 2 times 2, so you are left with what? 4/5. So the first ratio can equivalently be written as 4/5. Now for the second ratio, where you have Q ratio R to be equals to 3/4 ratio 1/2. If I want to remove the denominator, I can multiply both sides by 4. So if I multiply both sides by 4, then I have this reduces to what? 4 cancel 4, 3/2. So now, as you can see, we now have P ratio Q to be equals to what? 4/5, and we have Q ratio R to be equals to what? 3/2. So in this first ratio, we can see that the value that belongs to Q is this 5, and the value that belongs to this Q is this 3. And what did I say our goal is? Our goal is to make Q the same number in both the first ratio and the second ratio. So if we think about that, what can we do to make this value and this value equal? So for the first ratio, we can multiply it both sides by 3, and for the second ratio, we can multiply both sides of the ratio by 5. So when we do that, what do we get? If we multiply 4 by 3, we have 12, and if we multiply 5 by 3, we have 15. Similarly, in this case, if we multiply 3 by 5, I have 15, and if I multiply 5 by 2, I have 10. So in essence, what I've just been doing is manipulating the ratios. And what does it mean? It means that P ratio Q being equals to 2/3 ratio 5/6 is equivalent to 4/5, which is also equivalent to 12/15. Similarly, Q ratio R equals to 3/4 ratio 1/2 is equivalent to 3/2 and is also equivalent to Q ratio R. So now that we have made Q equivalent in both ratios, we can see Q is equal to 15. So we have a singular form number connecting both of them. So now we can now write out P and join these two together as one, Q and R. So by that, we can see that this ratio is equals to what? Our P value is what? 12. Our Q value is what? 15. And our R value is what? 10. So what do you do? To recap, what we have done is to try to make first and foremost, what you do is you look at the ratio that is common to both. And when we check through this example, we see that Q is common to both ratios that have been given. So what will be our goal? Our goal is to make Q equivalent or the same in both ratios, and we do this by multiplying both sides of the ratios and manipulating to make them equal. And we did that in case of Q by first multiplying by 6 and then multiplying by 3. To make for the Q part, this Q ratio, we first multiplied by 4 and we multiplied by 5 to make them equal. And once we've done that, we can combine them together since they are not equal and write out the value for P, the value of Q, and the value of R, which gives us 12:15:10. And what option is that? That is option C. So as you can see, the answer to this question is C. So this again shows the point that JAMB questions might not come directly, so you have to be able to manipulate, and not only manipulate but manipulate and think about these things in a very fast manner. So this is the last question that we'll be considering for this section, and this is a very interesting question but very easy also. Says a car dealer bought a second-hand car for 250,000 naira and spent 70,000 naira refurbishing it. He then sold the car for 400,000 naira. What is his percentage gain? Like, pretty straightforward. Now we know that what our percentage gain, we know gain is the same thing as profit, is equals to the profit over the cost price times 100. And we know that profit is the selling price minus the cost price over the cost price times 100. So we just need to find the selling price and cost price. Now we told that he sold the car for 400,000 naira, so we know that his selling price is what? 400,000 naira. Now the major issue with this example is determining the cost price. Now what is the cost price in this question? Now we told that he bought the car for 250,000 naira. That is the amount he bought it. But also, before he sold the car, he spent an additional 70,000 naira to refurbish it. So it's just as if he bought the car and he refurbished it, and by refurbishing the car with that money, the amount of money he used to refurbish the car is added to the cost of the car. So the total amount he spent in terms of bringing the car up to shape before he can sell it is equals to the car that I bought for the car, which is 250,000, then plus the amount he spent to refurbish it, which is 70,000. And when you find the sum of these two numbers, that gives you 320,000. So now we know that his cost price is 320,000 naira because that is total amount of money he spent to bring the car to shape before he sold it. So we can calculate a percentage profit now or gain, which is equals to what is our selling price. Our selling price is 400,000, then minus our cost price, which is 320,000, then over 320,000, then times 100, and that will be equals to 80,000 over 320,000 times 100. So this cancels this cancels this, and times 100%. And when you simplify this, you are left with what? 8 goes here 1 and 8 goes here 4, then 4 goes here 1, 4 goes in 125, so you are left with what? 25%. So the percentage profit that he has gotten from this transaction is 25%, which is equals to B. Again, you've seen how this question can be misleading because it told us that he bought a car for second-hand car for 250. So many students will just assume that the cost price is just 250,000 without taking into account the fact that I had to spend another additional money to refurbish it to bring it to shape before he sold it. So now it's important that I generalize the meaning of cost price. So cost price will mean the total amount of money you spent on an item before you sell it. So that way it includes maybe the cost of the item plus the cost of refurbishing plus any other money you spend on it before you sell it. That would refer to the cost price. So Now that I solve some questions, I will advise you and suggest that you go to the next session and try to solve the questions that are there. And in case you have any difficulty, you can always make use of the forum to connect with other students on the platform, so you guys can work together and help each other out. And from time to time, I'll be on the forum also, and I can go through your questions and try to provide answers. So now, take care for now.